Yeah, hello everyone. So here in this section we will be understanding about the comma operator, and you all know this comma operator can be used in two ways. One way is as a syntax part. So if you look at this printf function, in this function this comma operator is a part of syntax, whereas if you look at this statement, here you can find that I have used comma operator at this place and at this place. So at this section this is not as a part of syntax. Here we are going to process and execute the comma operator. So let's try to understand that if we are using comma operator for processing purpose, for execution purpose directly, then how it will be executed. Okay, this comma operator is actually having the least priority or least precedence, and if more than one comma operator is present, then it will always be having the associativity rule from left to right. So these two things you have to keep in mind. First one is that comma operator is having the least precedence, and second is that it has the associativity rule of left to right. Means if we have more than two comma operators, we'll always process the left section first, then we'll move to the rightmost, and then we'll keep on moving to the right section. So let's try to execute this program and understand the importance. But before that, let's try to execute and see some more important parts as well, which will be going to be helpful for us to understand the importance of comma operator as well. So in this first statement where I've written here printf NPTEL/n, so when printf is executing, or if you look at this line, what actually I am doing is I am executing the printf statement here. Okay, when this printf statement is executed, you all know that we'll get the message NPTEL/n. Okay, /n means we'll go to the next line. Now we are trying to execute this, and if you observe carefully, I am trying to return, if printf is returning some value, that returned value I am trying to store in the variable x. So we'll try to understand what the value is returned by printf statement and whether that is getting stored by x or not. Okay, we'll try to understand that. So let's understand. So the rule is, whenever you are executing the printf statement and when it is printing something, it keeps on counting whatever characters it is printing. Means when this line gets executed, it will print NPTEL, followed by it will go to the new line. So if you observe carefully, in this way it has executed and printed 6 characters. Okay, so total 6 characters it has printed. So means what it will do, it will return 6 to the variable x, and when we try to print x here, we'll get the output as 6. Now this was important. Why it is important, we'll see that in the next section. So let's do one thing. Let's try to first of all execute till here and find out what will be the answer. So for that I'm just commenting the lines below so that it can be easy for us to understand. So I'm compiling my program. After compiling, I'll execute it. So you can observe we have got the output as NPTEL, and we have got the message 6 also printed here. You can check it out here. Okay, so means whatever I told, that whatever character it is printing, it is counting also, and it is returning that value. Okay, so that you can check it out here. Now let's move to the next part. In the next part, if you look carefully, in the next part we are trying to execute the comma operator. Okay, now let's see. So in the next statement we are trying to execute the comma operator, as well as we are using the same concept of printf as well. So if you look carefully, here we are writing I is equal to 0 followed by comma, then we are writing printf hello, then we are writing printf, we are giving comma followed by printf man. So in this what will happen, you can observe we have comma operator 2 times. Means we have to go for the associativity rule. So what will happen, first of all this will get executed, means I will be getting the value of 0. After that we'll execute the printf statement, and when we are executing the printf statement, you know what will happen, the hello will be printed. Okay, so the hello will be printed. After the hello is printed, we'll see that there is one more printf statement, and in that we are trying to print man. So what will happen, we'll get the output as hello first, and after that we'll get the output as man. And in the next line we are seeing we have to execute I is equal to %d/n, and we are trying to print the value of I. So here again we'll try to print it I is equal to, and the value of I, as you have seen earlier, it is 0, so it will be 0 here, and we will be printing it, and we'll then go to the next line. Okay, so while executing these two statements we'll get this output. I hope it's clear to everyone. Okay, now in the next section, if you look carefully, there is a small, very interesting part. So what is that interesting part? If you observe carefully what I have done, in the same way as I executed the earlier section, I have written the same thing, but I have added a bracket here as well as here. So if you look carefully, what I have done is I have added two brackets. Now you know that priority of the bracket is higher than almost all the operators. Okay, now if you look carefully, especially if you look at the operators present here, the equal to operator will not be executed first. Why it will not be executed first? Because there is a bracket. So first of all, what will happen, we'll have to execute the bracket. Now when we are executing the bracket, you have to understand that there is a presence of comma operator. Now when you all know that when there is a comma operator, first of all it will be checking out that how many comma operator is present. Means if you have more than one comma operator, we have to go for the associativity rule. So according to the associativity rule, we have to execute first of all left to right. I mean we have to go from left to right. So first of all this 0 will be executed, then this part will be executed, and then this part will be executed. Means what will happen is that the 0 will be executed and it will be discarded because we are not keeping this value anywhere. Similarly, when we are executing printf hello, this hello will be printed, but the return value, that is 5, will not be stored anywhere because we are not storing it anywhere if you look carefully. And then comes the printf man. So this man again will be printed, and this, as it is returning 3, this will be stored in the variable I, because this is the last value after the bracket, I mean within the bracket execution. Okay, now if you try to execute this next printf statement and if you try to find out the value of I, you will observe that you are getting the answer as I is equal to 3. Okay, so from this you can keep it as a rule that if you have more than one comma operator written inside the bracket, then what we'll do, we'll first of all execute the first section, and if you're getting any result you will ignore it. Then you'll execute the next section, and if you're getting some result you will ignore it, and you will keep on doing till you reach the last section. And in the last section, whatever value you are getting, that value you have to pass on to the variable, which will be used on later on. Okay, so let's now see whether we are getting this output or not. So in the first case we were getting the value as hello man, and the value of I was kept as 0, whereas in the second case, I mean this is my first case and this is my second case, and in the second case what was the value? The man has written the value as 3, that was getting stored at I, so here the value of I is going to be 3. So let's try to execute and see whether we are getting that answer or not. So first of all we'll save our program, and then we'll move to the compiler section. We'll compile it, and after compiling we'll try to run the program, and let's see the output. So if you look carefully the output part, this is the first section and this is the second section, and if you look carefully we have got the desired output as discussed. Yes or no? Okay, now let's see. I have added some more part in the same program. So till here we have executed. Now again I am taking the variable I here, and now I am putting this if condition, and in the if condition I am writing this statement. Now if you look carefully in this statement, I have not used the small bracket. I mean I am taking the case 1. If you look carefully, this was our case 1, okay, and this was our case 2. So I'm taking case 1 here, and in this case 1, what will happen? I is equal to 0 will be executed first, then this will execute and give us 2, and this will be discarded, and again this will be executed and will get the value as 3. Okay, so if you look carefully, what is happening, the last value which is present here is 3. Okay, so this will be considered in this if condition. Okay, so I'll repeat once more this because it's a little bit confusing here. Means inside the if condition, if you write here I is equal to 0, 2, 3, then in this case what will happen? First of all, this will be executed and then we'll discard it. Again we'll take the next value, we'll execute it and discard it. Whatever we are getting as the last value, that will be taken as the answer for our if conditions. Okay, means if you are taking the last option as, like let's suppose after 3 if I'm keeping 0, then this also will be discarded and I have 0 as the answer here, so this will be considered as the value. Okay, so whatever you have here as the last thing after in the comma operation, that value will be considered as the answer, and based on that result, the if condition will take the reaction. Okay, or you can say it will take the condition. Clear? So if you observe carefully, in this case 3 is the last answer. So 3 being non-zero, it will consider this as a true statement, because you all know that whenever if we are executing if condition, we are getting either a 0 value or a non-zero value. So if you are getting non-zero value, means it is considered as true statement. So in this case what will happen, our true statement will be executed and we'll get the answer as NPTEL. Okay, and at last when we are trying to execute the printf statement, we'll get the answer here I as 0. So we'll get the complete answer as NPTEL 0. Okay, I hope it's clear to everyone.